Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
Good evening, I'm Gracie Lowe's, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now. COVID has caused CP to go off the rails as the holiday train has been canceled for the second year in a row. The plan now is for CP to donate to food banks in communities along its network and host a virtual concert instead. Since it first rolled down the tracks in 1999, the holiday train has raised more than $19 million. It's crime fighting time, and we're here with Constable Sarah Wernstein from Crime Stoppers.
Crime Stoppers is a nonprofit charity that relies solely on the support of the community for the funding of our program. Our statistics prove that the program works to help keep our community safe. So far in 2021, we have assisted in 59 arrests, 237 charges, recovered 12 weapons, over $74,000 in property, and seized over $320,000 in drugs throughout Windsor and Essex County. We need you to continue to keep us informed of the crimes in our communities. If you know of a crime that has happened or one that is about to take place, remember that you can report it to Crime Stoppers online at catchcrooks.com or by calling us directly at 519-258-TIPS. You will remain anonymous, you will not have to attend court, and you may be eligible for a cash reward. Thank you, Windsor and Essex County, for doing your part. I'm Police Coordinator Sarah Wernstein.
Windsor has a rich history, and some of it involves fire. Ravi Wijimani has the story.
Today marks the 150th anniversary of the Great Windsor Fire, the day downtown Windsor was destroyed. It all began with an overheated iron right here at Ullett at Fifth Street at McGregor's livery stable. Around 3 a.m. on October 12, 1871, the fire ravaged through Riverside Drive, or Sandwich Street as it was known then. Much of the city was constructed out of wood and densely spaced, feeding the fire as it swept along. The city had to call Detroit Steamer No. 4 to help put out the fire. By that time, more than 100 buildings were reduced to ash. Fortunately, however, no deaths were reported. The event prompted the city to install an underground piping system and mandate widely spaced building construction. For MediaPlex Live at 1, I am Ravishan Vijaymanna.
It's time for an early look at the weather, and we're joined today by Zachary Ballog. Zach?
Thanks, Gracie. It's great to be with you this evening, and it's also great to be with you at home as well. Currently outside, it is 22 and overcast. So will the warm air stick around, and what will the rest of the week look like? We'll talk about it coming up in your 3-day forecast. Coming up, Gracie?
For St. Clair students, there is money to be had. I went out to bring you this story. It's that time again where St. Clair College students can apply for possible scholarships. Each year, the college receives donations from various places and sponsors to put towards student scholarships and support. Dylan Reed is a first-year student at St. Clair College who is eager to apply for scholarships.
The application process honestly wasn't even that long. Once you get the information, like throughout your personal information and everything like that, it's pretty easy. The things that you would want to take your time on were like the actual personal questions that, scholarships, the companies look at.
To send in your application form, go to My St. Clair College and click on the scholarship button, and it will direct you to the form you can fill out with all your information. For MediaPlex News, I'm Gracie Lowe's. Some Windsorites are not happy with the new vaccine mandates and are making their voices known. Caleb Coulter tells us more.
Last Thursday, around 2 p.m., outside of the Devonshire Mall, dozens of people gathered to protest Canada's vaccine mandate for frontline workers. Supporters stood on the sidewalk in front of the mall, holding signs and talking with passerbys. The two main organizers, Matt Hallowick and Crystal Bernauer, said they saw huge support from the community.
We're standing up for our freedoms as protected under the Charter, and all these nurses are actually requesting fair accommodation given these rights, and they're not being given those rights at all.
The protest ended shortly after 5 p.m., with the organizers pleased with the large turnout.
Placing the community at grave risk by removing 20 to 30% of all the nurses across Canada.
From MediaPlex News, I'm Caleb Coulter.
Sometimes it's not easy to wake up, and Jasper Cha is here with some tips.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasper Cha, and this is your Health Minute. Feeling a bit down recently? Well, an idea could be to exercise at 5 a.m. in the morning specifically at the beach in the cold waters. Why exactly? Well, exercising in the morning at the beach can help you increase your metabolism, boost weight loss, help you stay alert, and reduce pain or injuries that you may have had. Plus, it wakes you up faster. What happens if you can't go to the beach or if there's bad weather? Well, a cold shower, bath, or face wash will almost do it as well. Well, there's my wake-up call. Now it's time to set up yours.
After a year of a pandemic-related hiatus, Open Streets is back. Alexa Fraser reports.
Open Streets Windsor returns on October 17th. From Sandwich Town to Ford City, an 8-kilometer stretch will be closed from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Street closures include Riverside Drive, University Avenue, and Wyandotte Street. Open Streets encourages people to promote physical activities outside and allows businesses to participate. Monique McNeil thinks it's good for small businesses to participate in Open Street.
I definitely think like the smaller businesses off of Sandwich Street would benefit a lot more from having biking traffic because people are going to be more inclined to go in and drink in the bars, and it might promote like more tourism within like Ontario if Windsor's known for something like that.
So grab your bike and helmet and explore the different business improvement areas of Windsor. For MediaPlex News, I'm Alexa Fraser.
Even if it's fall, do you ever wonder if it's safe to swim at the beach? Jasper Cha has the answers.
Although summer is over and many beaches are closing, there could still be a risk of bacteria in the water. Even though there may not be a high risk of people being sick from the waters, people should still be careful. Katie Sandler, a water quality scientist at IRCA, says even though with the low risk, there are still some things to look out for.
We need those eyes on the ground because we can't be everywhere. So if someone who lives with a creek running through their property, they'll have a good idea of what that thing normally looks like. So if they see something different, if they see like an oily substance in the water, or if the color of the water is different, or if they notice a smell coming from the water, then they should call the Spills Action Center, which is the Ministry of Environment, and they'll send their compliance officers out to take a look.
For more information, more can be found on the Health Unit's website. For MediaPlex News, I'm Jasper Cha.
If you're looking to make plans on Friday night, Isabella Spadafora has the solution.
The Downtown Windsor Business Improvement Association is commencing a pilot project, the Night Market, which will begin on October 8th. Debbie Croucher, the executive director of the DWBIA, said they tried to do the night market last year, but COVID-19 put it on hold. However, the DWBIA has hope.
Now that we've been running the market successfully for 18 months, we feel confident that we can do a night market as well.
Croucher said there will be 40 vendors at the night market. There are more than 30 people on the wait list to register as a vendor. Katie Stokes, co-owner of Whiskey Jack Boutique, has a shop located on Maiden Lane in downtown Windsor. Stokes said, "It would be great to see a night market happen more regularly in the downtown core. I love the vibe that events bring to the neighborhood." Croucher said there will be a cross-section of artists and artisans at the farmers market.
So much talent in this region and are selling their products that range from jewelry to baked goods to all sorts of arts and crafts, and it's really neat.
The regular farmers market happens every Saturday on Polisher Street. Expect to see these vendors in October. Brand Dead T-shirts, Yasmin's Shop, Rena's Bakehouse, Whiskey Jack Boutique, What's Popping, Popcorn Factory, and many more. Mark your calendars for October 8th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the debut of the night market in downtown Windsor. For more information, go to the DWBIA website or their Instagram. From MediaPlex News, I'm Isabella Spadafora.
Even through the trials of the pandemic, St. Clair College is thriving. Colin Bannon reports.
St. Clair College has seen an increase in enrollments this year as in-person classes come back. St. Clair College has seen over 14,000 students enroll in the semester, which is much greater than last year, a time when online learning was the norm. The students are located all across Ontario, from the Windsor, Chatham, and GTA campuses. Over 7,000 students enrolled are domestic students, and over 3,000 are international students. The increase in students has given great opportunities for student-based events to come back, and other things such as sports and study workshops. The COVID-19 pandemic stripped many in-person resources from students back in 2020, but since the vaccination rates have gone up, the in-person learning aspect has come back to St. Clair. Staff at St. Clair hope the vaccination rate will go to be 94% by October for staff and students. For MediaPlex News, I'm Colin Bannon.
Small businesses are still trying to recover from being shut down due to COVID. Kayla Tarnowski reports.
Danielle Lucier, owner of LA Pooch Parlor, is one of many small businesses in Windsor, Essex that had to close for a few months after the pandemic started.
Scared right away, scared for my business, scared for everyone's health, my kids, and of course the well-being of all the animals that come here that need regular grooming care.
Her business was closed for a total of 2 months, causing a major backup that Lucier claims they still haven't been able to catch up on. She also said that if it wasn't for her business type, she probably would have closed. According to Rakesh Naidu, the president of the Windsor-Essex Regional Chamber of Commerce, about 5,000 businesses could close due to losses suffered during the pandemic. From MediaPlex News, I'm Kayla Tarnowski.
September 30th is Canada's newest statutory holiday, a day set aside to commemorate a tragedy and wear orange in solidarity. Savannah Mills reports.
The National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on September 30th is now a statutory holiday. This day was created as an opportunity to commemorate and recognize the legacy of residential schools, which more than 150,000 First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children were forced to attend between the 1870s and 1997. Thursday's Every Child Matters Healing Walk started with an opening ceremony at 11 a.m. near Burt Weeks Memorial Fountain. The walk began at 1 p.m. from Burt Weeks Memorial Fountain, moved eastwards towards Assumption Park with a speaker on the importance of truth and reconciliation. Amber Lee John, an intergenerational survivor of residential schools, tells us what she hopes for the future of this day.
I would like to see a lot of justice moving forward, and treating these grave sites as what they are. They're crime scenes. So, we have to have a thorough investigation and hold people accountable for these crimes.
On September 30th, people wear orange because it was the time of year when Indigenous children were forcibly removed from their families and into residential schools. Irit Kazmirek, Member of Parliament, Windsor-Tecumseh, tells us more on why so many were wearing orange shirts.
Really, it's about honoring the survivors of residential schools, honoring their families, and remembering those children that never made it home as well, too.
The move came after the remains of about 215 children were discovered in late May on the grounds of a former Kamloops residential school. For MediaPlex News, I'm Savannah Mills.
As a part of an initiative to keep the schools free from COVID-19, St. Clair College has given students the option to take rapid tests at home. Let's have a look. St. Clair College has started to enforce new COVID-19 precautions. With the return of in-person classes, students at St. Clair College have had to take part in more COVID-19 protocols to help keep Saints Nation a safe place. In order to take part in face-to-face classes, it is required that students must have one of two things. You must be double vaccinated or show proof of negative COVID-19 tests every 72 hours. Amelia Wilson is a first-year public relations student at St. Clair College who is still waiting for her second vaccination shot.
After I showed them my ID, then they check on their system, see that everything's okay, and then they give me the COVID-19 testing box. Then I'm able to take it home, and then every 72 hours I upload my results and continue on with my day.
Students can get a rapid test kit from Lot T at St. Clair College or at the Garden Center. For MediaPlex News, I'm Gracie Lowe's. Face to Face, a local cable program where our community's volunteers, politicians, and business leaders chat with host John Fairley, has found a new home at St. Clair College MediaPlex.
The MediaPlex is welcoming back Face to Face. Today's guests are Mayor Drew Dilkins and City Councilor Reno Bordelin. Face to Face has been airing for over 20 years, and host John Fairley has conducted over 800 interviews.
What are they thinking? What do they want to get out of that guest? What is the question that they're, and it could be something that's in the news that they want further explanation on. It could be something that, is in their neighborhood. So I kind of look at the news and see what's going on at the time I interview someone.
Fairley has had guests from local business owners to Spitfire hockey players to award-winning photographers. Mayor Dilkins has been on the show many times and welcomes the opportunity of being in the MediaPlex.
As politicians, we can lay out ideas, and then that will generate, you're the delivery agent to get to the public, who then generate the conversation and the dialogue. And before we actually have a debate at City Council, people are at least mildly interested and somewhat informed. And if they're really passionate about an issue, they come and they present to City Council and express themselves.
Watch Face to Face Tuesdays at 7:30, Wednesdays at 6:30, and Saturday and Sundays at 12 noon. For MediaPlex News, I'm Alexa Fraser.
What's it going to be like outside for the next few days? Well, Zachary Ballog is here with the answers. Zach?
Did you know that the warm autumn weather means bigger spiders in your house? Just in time for Halloween. And now let's take a look at that 3-day forecast. Wednesday, we have some clearing and a high of 23. Thursday, chance of showers and 22. Friday, chance of showers and 17. And we stay in the teens through the weekend into next week as well. Back to you, Gracie.
It's a new school year, and Zach Ballog is starting a new feature for the show called Did You Know? Today's topic, the Ambassador Bridge.
Building an international gateway. Did you know the only way to get across the border back in the 20th century was by boat, and goods were sent by train in a railway tunnel? Well, that all changed with the Ambassador Bridge. The bridge was built in 1927 at a cost of $23 million, and according to the Windsor Public Library, it was completed in November 1929. When it was completed, the bridge held the title of the longest suspension bridge in the world. However, that title did not last long when the George Washington Bridge opened up in 1931. Despite losing the title of the world's longest suspension bridge, it still holds the name of the busiest border crossing in North America. For MediaPlex News, I'm Zachary Ballog.
It's said that necessity is the mother of invention, and as Albert Sharp explains, that even applies to musicians.
I don't know why I do the things I do.
Windsor is full of musicians looking to explore their passion, and while the allure of professional studios can be tempting for artists, the rise in music streaming is leaving many of them struggling to justify the price.
We saw how expensive that became and how the music industry was shifting so that recordings weren't as lucrative as they used to be. So it got harder and harder to justify forking out, $10,000 to make a record that wasn't going to make back that much money, not that quickly anyway.
As a result, many have turned to recording independently so they can create without the pressure to make back their investment right away.
First two albums that we did, we were paying about $30 an hour studio time. And the last two albums, we had a friend with a home studio that didn't want money. So we scored big time there.
And while gear itself can be costly, artists advise to start simple and invest into your home studio over time.
So while the dream of big studios holds true for many artists, sometimes all you need is a basement, a little bit of gear, and the right passion. For MediaPlex News, I'm Albert Sharp.
Disney is for everyone, as Mariana Jonekovic reports, even for those who are visually impaired.
Some say childhood is the best time in our lives. No worries, no problems, no fears. Just us and our friends, both real and imaginary, rolling around in a world of fantasy, flying high in the sky, diving deep into the ocean, climbing mountains in our minds. But for some people, their imagination is their reality.
Cartoons were really inaccessible to me as a kid because they were so visual. I couldn't identify with them at all because there was an awful lot happening in the cartoons that was not expressed through dialogue.
Rebecca Blevoigt was born blind. She was 5 when she first realized that not being able to see wasn't something everyone dealt with.
We had just had a visit from the principal of the School for the Blind that I would be attending, And I think it was that visit that made me start to think, I wonder, and I started to realize that I couldn't see out of my eyes.
Rebecca is one of the owners of Tactile Vision Graphics in Windsor, a business that prints materials in Braille. She and her husband Emmanuel have signed a 3-year licensing agreement with Disney to produce at least 15 creative coloring books with Disney characters. Disney books in Braille have never been produced in Disney's 90-year history. Emmanuel came up with the idea.
We had just come back to Canada and he started saying, you know, our coloring books would be great for if we had Disney characters. And my immediate reaction was, well, oh gosh, you know, imagine the red tape you have to go through to get that.
Blind and visually impaired will finally be able to see Disney classics like Mickey Mouse, Bambi, 101 Dalmatian, Goofy, and many more. The process of producing books consists of taking the Disney art and adapting it in a tactile format that will make sense to blind people reading it. Rebecca believes books with Disney characters will open a window to a completely new world.
If I knew that there were Braille coloring books, if the first Braille coloring books that I ever got were Disney characters, that would be very cool. I think as a kid I would have found that extremely, extremely neat, you know, to be able to bring that and show the other children and be able to color.
According to the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, there are 500,000 Canadians with significant visual impairment. Almost 200,000 of them reside in Ontario.
The number of requests we've gotten to let them know when the books are available from adults are even more than the number of kids. So it's because we didn't grow up with this stuff either. So yeah, it's a huge lot of people that are going to be impacted by this.
Emmanuel designs graphics in Braille for the purpose of Braille readers. One of his favorite pieces of art that he created is the periodic table of elements. Although making coloring books with Disney characters fulfills him and makes him happy, Emmanuel says it's a long process since it needs to be done very precisely.
It's slow work, slow process. It's too slow for me, but I want everything last week, so I want everything yesterday, so I just have to be patient.
Emmanuel remembers the first time he revealed one of their coloring books to a child. It was with a little girl who was blind.
The little girl was right in front of me and she was just like this. She had never touched a coloring book with her fingers. What do you think it is? It's a house. Yeah, you're right, that's a house. How do you know it's a house? With windows. Yeah, you're right. It was the first time she was actually touching her own idea of a house. Her mom was just like crying for me.
Seeing how blue the sky looks on a bright sunny day, the simplicity of nature's beauty, or the vibrant color of a freshly bloomed flower, so many of us take sight for granted. In their modest office, their second home, Rebecca and Emmanuel don't work alone. They have their biggest supporter always by their side, Carrie, Rebecca's seeing-eye dog and loving companion. Carrie doesn't know what preconception is, but Rebecca's father says it's something Rebecca faced with since she was a child.
The biggest challenge in raising Rebecca, I think it was more related to how other people dealt with her. Everybody wanted to help her, and because of her independence, she wanted to do it herself. So it was very difficult in some ways to tell people, let her do it.
I mean, there are things that are much easier to do when you can see. Just about everything's easier to do when you can see. But I think a larger obstacle than blindness is probably the societal perceptions of what blind people are capable of. That continues to be a battle that I have to fight with just about everyone I meet. There's all sorts of societal impressions that are made before I even say a word.
It's really funny because when Rebecca was a young girl, and even into her teenage years, I thought that this girl's gonna make her mark because she was so inventive and of course she's met Emmanuel, who is a very creative young man, and between the two of them, they've come up with this phenomenal idea, and they'll do well.
Rebecca decided to embrace her destiny from the moment she became aware of it. Today, she is brave, confident, happy, and determined to bring Disney characters in lives of blind and visually impaired, especially the young ones, and take them on a journey in which they have never been before.
The most important thing, after everything and before everything, is to be true to yourself. Whatever society throws at you, whatever other expectations people have of you, listen to your inner voice and do what's in your heart.
Natana Mutarasu is a smart woman, but more than that, some may say she's wise. Let's listen.
Hi, I'm Nantana Mutarasu. Welcome to my podcast, Do Not Worry. In today's episode, do not worry about wisdom. Wisdom has fallen victim to the era of instant gratification. We're too impatient, we want everything now, and we're immediately feeling defeated searching for this wisdom. Even Siri can't find it. Siri, find wisdom.
That may be beyond my abilities at the moment.
The answer lies in the right question. I always ask myself, what's the lesson am I supposed to learn here? No, don't tweet that. Wisdom is about seeking, not tweeting. Put it this way, a flower bud never worries about the arrival time. And just like wisdom, when it arrives, it's the right time. You just have to keep going. Okay, if you're still all about the instant gratification, go to your nearest Timmy's, buy yourself a donut, inhale, take a bite, and exhale, do not worry. You will have the sugar needed to figure out your next step. Thanks for watching. I am Nantana Mutarasu. See you in the next episode of Do Not Worry.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gracie Lowe's, and you've been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.
I think it's so important to be taught by industry professionals because they know what they're doing. And they're not just teaching because they read it in a book somewhere. They're teaching because they've lived it. I choose to take control of my future, and my path is St. Clair College. I choose to be here.